Welcome back to Midday. We're down at the Campbell's Art Gallery this afternoon checking out the latest exhibit, now open to the public. It's called Midnight Sun, Camera Obscura, and it was put together by a Kamloops artist. He helped to organize it and create it, and here to tell us about it in more detail, of course, we have the curator of the Campbell's Art Gallery, Chero Neville. It's great to have you back on.
Thanks.
Yeah, so a lot of different components making this up, not only in the main gallery, but also in the cube.
Yes. We actually have 3 exhibitions on right now too, and they are about 200 years of the historical and contemporary approaches to photography. And so one of them is Out of Sight. It's an exhibition of photographs on loan from the Vancouver Art Gallery's collection. The photographs are kind of late 1800s to mid 1900s, covering Edward Muybridge and Harold Edgerton's innovations around capturing frozen moments of time. So Muybridge is famous for the moment that he caught a horse's hooves lifting off the ground in full gallop. Some people might be familiar with that. And he did sequential photographs that really captured movement. And Harold Edgerton is known for his strobic techniques, where he used strobes and a wide exposure in order to capture athletes primarily in motion, and also things like moving bullets going through fruit.
Interesting.
So that's kind of the historical aspect of our exhibitions, and then the Midnight Sun Camera Obscura Festival was the precedent for the show that's on here now, that was, as you said, organized by Donald Lawrence, and he's an artist in Kamloops and a professor of visual arts at TRU, and he brought together all these different artists, many of them local, as well as academics and student researchers. And they did different projects that were basically experiments with the camera obscura, which is one of the oldest optical devices.
Okay, and so these optical devices, we're sort of seeing different versions of these, I believe, around the gallery. The one behind us, very shiny and gold, so of course, like a crow, I'm attracted to it. I love it. It's very cool.
There is a lot of gold in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting because the festival actually happened in Dawson City, where when you go there, you think of the gold rush, and it's a lot of gravel. So these artists were working in that environment over the summer during the solstice in Dawson, during the longest day of the year. And this project is by Leah Bucknell, who's a Kamloops-based artist. And so that you can see, it looks like the front of a building. It's called a false front. So a lot of the buildings from the Gold Rush era were, you know, have peak roofs, but then they put the false front on the front to make it look more impressive. Okay. And what Leah did was she built a kind of scaled down structure in Dawson City and included this lens. Many of the projects have this lens, and what it does is it within the darkened chamber, which is what camera obscura means, it's the Latin word for darkened chamber, darkened room, is that it creates, light goes through the lens and then it creates an inverted image inside. So the exhibition's very magical in a way. You actually can see how a camera obscura works by looking at Don Lawrence's project, which is this massive kind of almost creature that hangs over, recreated the side of the George Black Ferry in the Yukon, that crossed the Yukon River in Dawson City. So for that project, you could go on the ferry, and during its crossing, you could actually watch the surrounding environment by sticking your head inside.
Neat.
And you can do the same here. So you can look through Dawn's camera obscura and see Leah's work.
And so that is Dawn's,
That's
and
right.
It looks through over to Leah's.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Now, what about this, I don't even know what shape to call this.
Yeah, it's almost a hexagonal, but it's multifaceted. It's a work by Holly Ward and Kevin Schmidt, and they collaborated to create 2 gold nuggets. So, like I was saying, that the environment there is actually a lot of gravel. And so these big structures that you could enter as well, they were camera obscuras, were like beacons in the landscape. And one was placed at a very prominent site called the Moosehide Slide, which is kind of a traditional area for the First Nations people there. And then the other nugget was where the dredge tailings are, which is basically this kind of meandering tailings of gravel. And so you could go inside the camera obscura, and they exposed some paper and made some prints from that project as well.
And now on the other side of this wall, there's another big display as well. What's that about?
Yeah, it's a tent that you can enter. So a lot of this work is interactive and
Yes.
really fun and kind of magical. And Diane Boss has created this black tent, also a darkened chamber, with all these pinholes of light that correspond with the sky, the solar system during Dawson's solstice. So at that time, you wouldn't have been able to see the sky or the stars because of all the light. So she mimicked this, and then the points of light beam on you inside when you're in the tent.
Neat.
And as if you're being hit by stars. And here we've got an artificial light, but it gives the same experience.
And then finally in the cube, that is made up of artwork from artists that took part in Camera Obscura, students.
Yeah, so there were 3 of the students that were active researchers and assisting with the other artists as part of the festival. They were part of an exhibition in Dawson City, and so this is a continuation of their projects. And what they did is, it's Levi Glass and Dion Forty and Ryland Forty, and then they collaborated with Monica McGarry and Alex Jensen and Anissa Gill. So these are 6 artists, and they made do-it-yourself projectors. So there's 3 different projectors, and they all project different objects into the darkened room in the cube. It's very theatrical and magical.
Fantastic. And so this is sort of a combination of those 3 different areas that you're talking about, pulling them together into one common theme. How long is this project open?
The exhibitions are on in the Cube until March 12th and in the Central Gallery until March 19th.
Fantastic. And is the Donald Lawrence, the local artist who created this, is he somebody that has come down here for the opening and taken part in it? And
yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah.
So he gave a full tour of the exhibition during the opening, and he will be moderating a panel discussion with the artists who are based in Kamloops this Saturday, February 6th. And there is also a tour, a pre-tour of the exhibition at 1 o'clock. So the panel's at 3. And then further, we have all this public programming that has to do with these exhibitions. It's super fun. On February 20th, we have Family Art Saturday. We also have Mike Uhatz, who's another participating artist, and he is going to be bringing his van Scura, which is a van that you can go into and watch the moving landscape of Kamloops from inside. So he'll be doing that from February 17th until 20th.
awesome. Okay, sounds like a lot's going on here, but a very interesting interactive set of exhibits for sure. All right, Cheryl, thank you very much for being here today. Definitely come and check it out down at the Kamloops Art Gallery. You can also go online to their website and find out more information. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more Midday. Stay with us.
So you can keep